Greetings from Southern Yankee Homestead. I'm Paul, and this is our homestead. I was reviewing the analytics the other day and realized we hadn't done any cooking in a while, or put anything up about cooking. So, little backstory. Uh, God, a dozen plus years ago, I was actually in Rota, Spain, and we went into this restaurant and they had a salt-baked fish. It was surprisingly amazing. So since then, occasionally, if we have a large fish that we're trying to cook and we don't want to necessarily break it down to the smaller pieces, this is the recipe that we use. This particular one, we're using what we have available. So please follow along. This is going to be a voiceover for most of this, if not all of it, and I'll be back at the end. It has been said that a man cannot live off meat alone. So with this meal we're actually preparing a potato, or 3 as well. This is a very simple recipe that we threw in the oven before we even started the fish, because potatoes take a lot longer to cook than fish. We could have done standard baked potatoes, but I wanted to do something a little different, and I didn't want to necessarily do scallop potatoes, so it's kind of a middle ground. The chopsticks I'm using are to prevent me from cutting all the way through the potato and keep everything relatively the same distance. It's a simple way to cut it without cutting all the way through. Again, this is a very simple recipe. Basically, spritz the potatoes with oil to help hold stuff down. Then we're going to use salt, pepper, garlic powder, butter, and a sprig of rosemary, just to add a little bit of additional flavor. After that, we wrap everything up, throw it in the oven, and let it cook until you feel it's done. Should be about an hour. Make sure that the foil is sealed well, because otherwise you're not going to steam your potatoes, you're going to bake them, and we want these more steamed than baked. As mentioned before, this is a salt-crusted fish, so we're going to be using a lot of salt. Don't worry, the salt doesn't come through the fish very much. It will season it slightly, but it will not make it a salt lick or salt fish, if you know what that is. The ratio is 1 cup of coarse salt. It can be kosher, can be pickling, just as long as it is a edible salt. Don't use rock salt from your driveway. 1 cup of salt to 1 large egg white. Mix thoroughly. I recommend lining your pan with something, whether it be parchment paper, wax paper, tin foil, because this will stick to the pan. It is also preferred that you use a flat pan, not a brownie or cake pan like we did here. You want to get as much heat around that as possible, as soon as possible. And a deep dish pan keeps some of the heat from getting to the fish. Unfortunately, all of our pans are dead and we need to add some more, so I had to use a cake pan for this one. Our fish of choice for this particular recipe today is going to be brook trout. These are trout that we picked up while we were in Maine back in July. Did some really nice fishing while we were there. You do want to pat them dry, just so that you don't have excess moisture. Makes them easier to handle. We're going super simple with the seasoning. Just a little bit of rosemary, a couple slices of orange, and just a spritz of salt inside the belly of the fish. You can use lemon, and you can use any fish that you desire, just as long as it has the whole head. This needs to be a complete fish recipe, minus the innards. Once you have the fish plated on your bed of salt that you already set up, go ahead and make up an extra large batch of salt egg mixture to completely cover the fish with. This salt is going to seal up the fish, ensuring that it steams with everything else that is in there. And again, the ratio is 1 to 1. 1 egg white to 1 cup of salt. Don't worry if you get a little egg yolk in there. Just as long as you get most of the yolk out is what is important. You want only the egg white. At that point, you completely cover the fish, ensuring that there is no visible gaps. You cannot put too much on it, but you can put too little. Set your oven to 400 degrees and bake for 20 to 25 minutes depending on the fish. After 20 to 25 minutes, the fish will be done when the crust is slightly browned and flaky on top. At that point, go ahead and remove it from the oven and get ready, because the next part is messy. You have plenty of space to work because the salt is going to go everywhere. Plate your fish and deskin it. Remove the flesh from the bones and discard the bones and flesh. Add your side, and because we have a very particular palate with our daughter, we made the finest red skin hot dogs and ketchup for her so that we could eat as a family. And other than that, bon appetit. And that completes this video. The fish was good. Potatoes were a little undercooked for my liking, but it was still a good meal. If you have any questions, please leave them down below. Comments or concerns, down there. Give us a thumbs up if you can, the whole like button. And other than that, hope you enjoyed the video. Don't forget to subscribe. Am I forgetting anything? If I am, I'll get it in the next video. Bye!